Hey guys, it's Ryan with My Listing Club. In this video, we'll be continuing on with the educational series, How to Build an Online Business with the MyListing WordPress theme. As we've done throughout this series, we'll use the MyListing project template as our guide. The project template can be found by going to the MyListing Club website at mylisting.club. Once there, scroll down the homepage just a little bit and click into the MyListing project template card. This product page is going to walk you through everything that is included with this project template. And if you scroll down with me here, you'll see some of the topics that are covered in there. There's even a walkthrough video where you can see the template before any of the tasks are completed, so in its original state. If you've watched any of the videos throughout the series, you will have seen me work through this project template, and you'll get to see it firsthand in this video today as far as where we're at with it and our progress. And at the bottom is a change log of all of the things that I'm adding and changing with this on an ongoing basis. You can purchase this project template by clicking the Buy Now button as a one-off purchase. If you purchase a starter site from me, I will give you a copy of it. If you are a MyListing Care Plan client of mine, I will give you a copy of this anytime you ask for it. If you want ongoing changes to this, be able to download it on your own as many times as you want, or as many times as within your plan, you could be an ultimate member. Those ultimate members get access to this template. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this down and let's check out where we are within the template right now. We are still working in the My Listing column. I've been adjusting this as we've been going along, thinking of new topics that I might have missed that specifically relate to the My Listing tasks. So I'm 99% sure that I'm not done with this column, and there's going to be more added to this before I move over to the other columns. But for now, we are working on the Explore page within this video. So I'm going to go ahead and click into that card and just give you a brief rundown to show you how much detail is in this, as well as a checklist at the bottom of it. Okay, so pretty valuable stuff. I'm going to move this over to my other screen. I also want to mention this guide, this free guide. This is an ongoing post of everything that I'm covering within this educational series, and this will live on, indefinitely as the go-to guide for how to build a MyListing website from beginning to end, including links to resources and other guides and things of that nature. And soon I'll have all the videos added to it. But at the bottom, what I wanted to point out here was I've added everything that's in the project template except for the checklist. You have to get the project template to get the checklist. But as far as the narrative that we're going to cover in this video, that is all in this post. Okay, so definitely keep an eye on this post, and I would bookmark this one especially if you're building in the current build phase. Let's go ahead and close this down. All right, so here we have a sandbox MyListing site. It's a bare bones site with pretty much nothing but the theme and a couple core plugins installed. I like to do this before we start each video of the series so we can just build from the ground up and fumble through things together. And so here we are. Let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, so Explore page. Typically, this is one of the core pages of a MyListing website, as it's responsible for providing the functionality and design you configure within the search forms area of a listing type. So let me go ahead and show you what I mean there. So if we go into listing types, we're going to have to add one here because we don't have any yet. I'm going to call this listing type 1. And this is what I'm talking about, the search forms area of a listing type. So in here we have the three aspects, or areas: the advanced form, the listing order, and the explore tabs. These three areas that you configure have a direct impact on how your Explore page looks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just publish this listing. I'm going to actually publish another listing type while we're at it. Okay, I just wanted to have those in place. To get started building the Explore page, you create it and edit it with Elementor. So let's go ahead and do that. Pages, add new. Let's call this Explore. And we're going to click Edit with Elementor to get the Elementor editor going. The first thing we want to do is click on this plus symbol icon and select this top left section option. Once that's in there, we want to edit that. And the content width, we want it to be full width, and we want no column gaps. So column gaps, no gaps. We then want to go to our widget explorer for Elementor and type in explore. And we're going to drag in the My Listing Explore Listings widget. Just pop that right, make sure you put it right into that section, okay? All right, so next up, just so we can start to see this thing populate and make sure we're on the right start, off to the right start, let's go ahead and just add our listing types. So that's under this listing types area and click add item. And we're just going to pick our first listing type and we're going to add our second one in here. This is pretty self-explanatory, but oftentimes when I'll get asked, like, why aren't my listings showing up on the Explore page? That's pretty much the answer every time, is that they didn't add their listing types to the actual Explore page. Okay, so I wanted to get that out of the way real quick. So like I said, this is typically the core page you see with any MyListing website. But that said, some MyListing websites do not use a dedicated Explore page at all. And instead, they place this Explore page widget, which I'll show you in a second, on like parent region pages, category pages, things of that nature, where the Explore page, the Explore widget isn't the star of the show per se. It's just a feature of a particular page. So it's one of the many stars of the show of a particular page. Okay. Yeah, so back here again in our listing type, under search forms, again, the advanced form first. This form appears on the left-hand side of the Explore widget, along with Explore tabs and filters, okay? So let's go ahead and just drop something in here. Let's do a field here, and let's do a category. And then under search forms, let's do we'll do a drop down for now, and we're going to choose our category field that we just added. So let's just call this categories. Or category. We'll just call it category for now. We're going to use the field category. Okay. I just want to get this started now. We're not going to get in heavy right this second, but we will. Okay. So I have that in there. Let's just go ahead and do this for this other listing type. Okay, so we've got those in there. Let's go ahead and add a couple of categories if there aren't any. Oh, we do have a couple in there. Okay, so that's cool. Let's go back and let's publish our Explore page so we don't lose our current settings. And let's go ahead and refresh this, and we should see a categories drop down appear, and there it is. Okay, so again, this is impacted by what we configure under the search forms advanced form area. Okay. And like I said, it appears on the left-hand side of the Explore widget. So here we go, left-hand side, along with Explore tabs. That's these things across the top, filters and categories. Yeah, MyListing website users can use this form to find and filter listings based on a specific criteria defined within the form. So I think you get the idea there. Again, whatever fields or search items you want to put in, search and filter items you want to put in the form, that's what's going to appear on the left-hand side. The next one over I want to talk about is the Explore tabs. That's what appears here across the top. So right now we have filters and categories. So filters and categories. And we can add another one in here. You can add up to 3. So let's just drop regions in there and update. Regions and updates. And then let's refresh our Explore page, and we should see those pop in there. Okay, so there we go. There's our 3 Explore tabs across the top. Let me open this Explore page on the front end. Okay, so there we go. We see it starting to take shape there. So the last one I wanted to talk about is the so let me go back to Explore tabs. Let me read the narrative I have for that. So These tabs appear above the advanced form, which I showed you, and you can use a maximum of 3 at a time. They can be used to provide an alternate or additional way of presenting data and filters. For example, instead of a drop-down field for categories, like right here, instead of this, you could do the tab, which is this. Using this, you can present like a prettier display, like background images and things of that nature. And I'm going to show you an example here by looking at the new upcoming starter site. And now the Explore page, I'm not completely done with it, so no judgments, please. But so rather than showing it just here, select gem type, which is essentially a category. Instead, you can have an Explore tab called gem type, and then here's your pretty cards, and you can display this in like a prettier fashion. Okay, so whether you want to do it as just only this and not have an Explore tabs, or you want to do both, or you don't want to have this drop down and you just want to have the Explore tabs, it just depends on your preference, your project, and whatnot. So up to you there. All right, I've already showed you the Explore Listings widget. We've added it to our page. I also wanted to note that what you set, there are some settings in theme tools, theme options that will have an impact on the Explore page as well. So for example, listings per page. So this is how many listings will appear in this column before pagination occurs. So for the purposes of this video and the starter site, what I did was, even though I had 3 listings, I set it to only show 2 at a time. So it shows 2, and then it shows pagination here. So you have to skip over to see the others. So that's what this option sets here. So you define how many you want to show per page. Now, you got to think about performance here. Be careful with how many you set, especially if you are not on top level, high-end hosting. You don't want to go setting thousands of listings here. You really could be setting up your performance for disaster. But another thing to consider, though, is the location. So a lot of people say, I want to fill up the map. I want the map over here to show that it's heavily populated. And you just got to weigh that balance of showing, too many listings that could kill your performance or hurt your performance versus not enough listings that don't populate the map. So you just got to test that out and see what works based on your infrastructure and your business and that sort of thing. And then you can set a default Explore page here. As it says, this page will be used to display results from the header search form and to display listings by category. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this template a bit more. So moving on down, we see that by default that the nav bar option is chosen here. So that is this display listing types as here. So I'm just going to go ahead and set this over to drop down. This is my favorite way to go about it of the two. So I'm going to go ahead and set that. And one of the reasons is so that way you can see the subtitle take hold. So looking here, we've got the title. What are you looking for? So that's what's shown here. And then if we type a subtitle, this is a subtitle. We see that populate. But if we switch this over to navbar, that subtitle gets hidden. May not be a problem for your project. It might be a problem. You might want to be able to type something there. So I'm going to switch this back to drop down here. And let's go ahead and get into templates now. So each template presents a different look and feel. So it's just a matter of choosing the desired template for your project. Template 1, which is what the default is. This is an advanced search form in the left column. Listings are in the middle column, and the map is on the right. Okay. Template 2 is advanced search form on the left and a map on the right. Template 3, advanced search form in the top row up here, and listings are in the bottom row. I'm going to show you an example of this. So this is the Reach starter site. This uses that template. Listing types at the top, listings at the bottom, okay? And then lastly, we have, sorry, let me find my page here. Lastly, we have template 4. Template 4 is advanced search form in the left column and listings in the right column. This is back to what I was saying, where you could use this where the Explore page is not the star of the show on a particular page. So you could add this to a parent category page, or like a parent region page, or just or could even be the child region or child parent region pages. But this is where this isn't necessarily like the star of the show. Let me show you an example of where this could be used. So looking at another starter site, if I was to click into this child page here, what you could do is you could add the Explore page widget somewhere on this page. And it's not the star of the show, but it adds a search feature right in there to where they don't have to go to a dedicated Explore page. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and set this back to template 1, and then now let's look at the columns. This setting applies to the listing, so it's just a matter of choosing the desired setting for your project. And by apply to listings, I mean how many listings, how the listings that appear here in this column, or how many columns we're going to set. So the 1 column setting is the default. Displays listings in a single column that occupies 450 pixels of a 1600 pixel desktop width. So if you're looking at my screen now and 1600 pixel width, 450 pixels of that is going to be the listings. So let's go ahead and refresh our page here. I'll show you how I get that. If you inspect this column with your browser, you'll see here, there it is, width 450. So that's where that's coming in. You see if I take that off, how it adjusts. So that's where that comes from. Columns 2, that's going to, as you see here, it expands it. It gives us 2 columns for our listings, occupying 800 pixels of the 1600 pixel desktop width, leaving the advanced search form width the same while shrinking the map area. So we see that here. The map is shrunk on the right. The advanced search form is the same size, but our listings are now 2 columns. And then let me go ahead and save this here. Which one am I? I'm on 2 columns, yeah. So then the map can easily be expanded to near full screen with the click of the map icon. Let me show you this over here on the upcoming Fit starter site. Let's see. Let's go to the Explore page. Let's set this thing to 2 columns and save our page. Let me see if, yeah. Okay, so this is what I mean by, so we've got our 2 columns there. This is what I mean. You can't see it. I need to style it still, but you see this little map icon. And if you click that, it's going to expand, and the map is going to take up that, fill that area. Okay. Okay, so then our next one up is our 3 columns. And what the 3 columns does, despite the title of this option, it actually displays listings in 4 columns, occupying 1200 pixels of a 1600 pixel desktop width, leaving the advanced search form width the same while hiding the map area. But the map area can be easily expanded. So let me show you that. Let's switch it to 3 columns. As you see, it actually is 4. So we'll update that. So search column in the left, 4 columns of listings on the right. And then if we click on this map icon, it's going to bring the whole map into view there. Okay. So those are the columns. Next up is enable disable live URL update. So that is this setting right here. The default is for it to be on, and I recommend that you leave it on, and I'm going to show you why here. So if we do a filter, let's say accepts credit cards. If we look up here in the URL, it's going to give us a dynamic URL based on that filter. What you can then do is plop that into various areas of your website to pre-populate the link. So when they hit it, they get redirected to the Explorer page to where you want them to go with that filter automatically set. Let me show you an example of that. So here's another starter site. And what I've done is I've done a pre-configured filter just with how I just showed you. And I've dropped that into, actually I'm on the wrong site. This guy right here. Scrolling on down. So we look at pizza, for example. This is a pre-populated link. If I click on that, you'll see in the URL bar, it's pre-populated with restaurant, and then the category is pizza, and it's filtered automatically by top rated. Okay, so that's why I really like that setting. Okay, so it's like I said, it's on by default, so I would just leave it as is. Next up is trigger search on map on drag. So if you're not allowing people to search by location using map services, then this setting should be disabled. So for example, let me find a site where I'm not doing that. Okay, back at this starter site here, we see that we're not actually, actually we are, I take that back. That one is doing it. I'm not sure I have any starter sites that aren't doing that. So basically, if you see down here, there's a location, where you can do a search by location, obviously, and you start typing the address, and then it's going to give you the proximity once you select that address. If you're not allowing this option, so like maybe you're just allowing them to select cities and not enter an address. If you're not doing the location search option, then what you want to do is you want to toggle this off. And when you do that, it's going to remove this option up here for them to check this, and then when they drag, do a search. It won't work. So there's no use displaying this box up here. So again, if you're not going to just let people search by putting in an address, zip code, whatever, landmark, whatever, then toggle that setting off. Okay, I'm going to leave it on because I'm going to allow that search by location. Okay, let's see what's next. So again, if you click that, if you are using it, I just made a note in the project template, but this is actually, it's not styled, but if you could read that text, search as I move the map. So user clicks that button, and then as they search, what that allows it to do is the listings will update, the filter will update based on the location. I haven't configured this yet for the starter site. So what else? Listing types, I already showed you that. It's self-explanatory, but a lot of times people, I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but a lot of times people will say, like, I can't get my listings to show up on the Explorer page, and it's just because they forgot to add their listing type in under listing types. Okay, moving on. Display listing types, as I've covered that. Nav bar versus drop down, so we'll go on past that. Default filter values. So this is another one. So when I showed you how to get that dynamic URL in here, so like I mentioned with a parent region page, or I'll just stop saying parent, like a region page or a category page. It's a similar concept. So you get that dynamic URL, and then what you can do is go into those. You can add the Explore Listings widget to those pages, and then if you go ahead and populate this, so let's do the pizza place thing again. Just pretend like I've got a dynamic pizza place URL in here. I could drop this into this field. let's just pretend like this was my dynamic URL. I could drop this into this field, and now when they hit that parent page, or that, I keep saying parent, when they hit that category page or that region page, with this value already filled into the Explorer widget, it's just going to automatically filter based on those values. So pretty cool stuff. Okay. Let me run through what I wrote here. So this feature is a great option if you're building a page, Explorer page, region page, category page, etc., where you want to pre-filter listings based on what the page is about. For example, you could add the Explorer listings widget to a region page for a particular city where you want to show the top pizza places. In this case, you could use a restaurant listing type and a taxonomy, category, custom taxonomy, etc. of pizza. So the pizza taxonomy. And then you create that dynamic URL and then you paste it into the default filter values, and there you go. It's ready to go. Moving on down, Google Ads. I do not recommend turning this on. I don't like Google Ads. It's just a personal preference of mine. They will slow down your site, and they will negatively, in my opinion, affect the design of your website. But if you were to toggle this on and you were to put in your Google Ads information, the setting I want to mention specifically here is the ad interval. So what this means is you're setting how many listings to go through before showing an ad. So like if I put a 5 in here, it's going to show you 5 listings. Let me clear this out here. It's going to show us 5 listings, and then it's going to inject the ad in there. Okay, so something to think about there, but it's just I understand, like I fully understand the desire to monetize directories. But there are other ways that don't adversely impact the performance and design of your websites like Google ads do. There's sponsorships, there's partnerships, there's affiliate programs. I mean, there's lots of things that you can do that don't slow down your site and don't mess up the design. All right, moving on down is the map skin. By default, MyListing comes with a nice set of map skins in there. This feature allows you to add a skin to your maps. If you like to do a custom skin that matches your branding, you can do that really easily if you're using the Mapbox as your map service. So I'll show you a couple examples here with the starter sites. This is a custom map created with Mapbox, and this is one. Okay. So you kind of see they're designed to match the branding of their overall site. Mapbox will give you templates to work from, so you don't have to start from scratch, and then you just adjust them as needed and add them to your site. So here on the Explorer page, once you add, so I'll go here. So theme tools and map services. If you were to add Mapbox, there's a section here for custom map styles. You just click add your skin and you paste in the URL from your Mapbox account. And once you do that and you go to your Explore page widget, you'll be able to select that skin. You'll also be able to select that skin within the add listing form and also to display on the single listing pages. Okay, so pretty cool stuff there. I'll just pick one here. We'll do light. All right, where do we leave off here? And there's a guide in the club for how to set up Mapbox and whatnot, so I would check that out. The default coordinates. Oh, before we get to that one, I think I missed one here. Zoom map on map scroll. So if you set that, that just means that like I'm showing you here on the screen. You can zoom with the mouse roll. So that's all that one is. All right, zoom levels. That's next up. These settings are more trial and error than anything, since every MyListing project is different. You'll want to play around with these settings until you have the desired outcome. I recommend keeping an eye on these settings over time, as the desired settings may change with the more listings that you add or take away from the map. So let me show you an example here. So back on this other starter site, so I've got these spread out across the United States, but imagine if they were just over on the left side of the United States. Your desired zoom levels may be different at that point than what they would be now. And then you can imagine if you have a ton of listings all over the United States and some up in Canada and so on and so forth, you just got to keep an eye once in a while on the zoom levels until they're at where you want them to be. There's no hard set answer here on what's best. So you just got to play with these settings, the latitude, longitude, zoom levels, and sorry, not the latitude and longitude, but the zoom levels. I skipped one here. After map scan, it's the default coordinates. So as you see here, we see London because there's no results matching. That's because the MyListing theme is configured to use London by default within the Explore page widget, Explore Listings widget. Okay, so what you want to do, in my opinion, this is an important setting. You want to find a more desirable default latitude and longitude based on what your target audience is. So if I'm in the United States, like this starter site, I want to default to the center of the United States most likely. If I'm going to target a specific city, then I want to put that city's coordinates in there. So let me show you how to easily get those coordinates. So all we do here is you go to Google Maps, and let's say I just want to target Charlotte, North Carolina. I punch that in for my location, and I can pick a specific place in Charlotte, North Carolina, or I can just try to pick what looks like the center to me. But if you just right click on the map, it's going to give you coordinates at the very top, and you can actually click on those and copy those. On the far left is the latitude, and on the right is the longitude value. And you just plop those right in here, default latitude and longitude. And that way, what you see here with London, that will now default to wherever you set when there's no listings that match the criteria. In my opinion, this is really important to set. So you can imagine if you were building a website that targets Charlotte, North Carolina, and you have no listings that match, a user doesn't have any search criteria that matches any listings that you have on your site, you're going to show them London, and this is a really bad look, in my opinion. So you really want to set that value up. Okay, what else do we got? I showed you how to get your coordinates. Once you believe your coordinates are entered correctly, you can easily test this by filtering your Explorer page to the point where no listings match the criteria, kind of like what you see here. Nothing matches, just basically break it so you can see that default map location. Zoom levels I already covered. Next up is the count. So under categories, taxonomies tab, item count. So that's what appears under here. So these are the Explore tabs and the taxonomy tab. So categories and regions are what we currently have. What this value does is define how many listings how many category or taxonomies, I should say, is the more accurate way of saying it, because you can even have custom taxonomies. How many custom taxonomy cards do you want to show before it shows a load more option in there? Okay, so looking at this starter site, let me just refresh this again. And let me actually edit this. I'm going to go back to the one column. And I'm going to set my item count. So my taxonomies tab, I'm going to set it to 1. I know I have more than one taxonomy, so this should kick in. Let's refresh. So there we go. So we're saying only show this one taxonomy before showing the load more button. Clicking on that load more, you're going to show more. So basically what I think would be good here, would be a good recommendation, I'll probably put this in the project template, is on your desktop view, just see how many of these cards fit on the screen. And I would probably go with that as the default number, just so you have that filled up and it looks nice in there. You could obviously go more, but I'm saying that is like a minimum. If you're on good hosting, I wouldn't worry too much about this to start. I typically, because I'm using really good hosting with Keensta, I will just clear out I will just clear out this item count and let it just pull in all of them. So rather than doing the load more, it would just be like an infinite scroll. Like it just keeps scrolling through the categories and whatnot. So if you're on really crappy hosting, I would limit this to a certain number. I don't know what that number is before the performance starts to degrade, but I probably wouldn't just leave it wide open because that could really degrade the performance of your Explore page at some point. Okay, what else can I say about this? Okay, overlay type. So that's at the bottom here. That's the last setting we've got here in our Explore Listings widget. So what I've done here is chosen the gradient option. You can choose a solid color and pick any color that you want in here. So I'm going to go back to gradient. I chose 7 here. Just for the purposes of this video, I'm actually going to do a custom gradient. But rather than starting from scratch, you can actually work off of this gradient that MyListing gives you pre-made. So if I chose 7 here, like I said, and that's done here in this box down here. Okay, so that gives us this look right here on our taxonomy cards. It adds color over the top of the taxonomy cards shown within the Explore tabs. There is an option to choose any solid color or a pre-configured gradient. Regardless of your choice, the color is shown with a 40% opacity, and then a 95.5% opacity, which is a nearly solid color on hover. So as we see here, it's pretty you can see through there and see the image really nice. That's a 40% opacity. And as I hover it, it goes up to 95.5. It just gives you that 0.5% of being able to see through that. It's almost a solid color. Okay, and you can adjust those values too if you want. What else? Like I said, if you don't like the gradient options that are currently configured, you can use CSS easily to adjust those. So that's what I'm actually going to be doing myself. If you right click on that card and inspect it, and then you find out where that overlay is being applied. So here it is, div class overlay gradient 7. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Here's the value it's adding, gradient 7. Okay, so this is the colors that it's adding, and this is the degree angle. You can even change that. So I can just very simply go in here and change the color to whatever. So kind of like a red tint, a light blue, like a white, whatever. You just play with it, do whatever you want. But just that easily, you get that value, and this is your new value for the gradient 7. And in the project template and on that post I showed you, the building an online business with a MyListing WordPress theme, I give you some CSS hints on how to add this. You're literally just going to add this to the CSS area of your site and adjust the colors. It's that simple. Like I said, you can work off of the gradient, one of the predefined gradients. You can just use the predefined gradients if you like the way they look. You see the options there. You can try those out. Yeah, the other option is just, and I give you this, like I said, I give you this in the project template and on the post. But if you want to target the taxonomy as a whole without needing to specify a gradient color in the Explore Listings widget, so that means if you don't want to even have to bother specifying anything in here, I give you the CSS class that you can target, which is listing-cat.overlay. We'll get you that. Okay, that is it for the Explore page widget. I want to go back before we wrap this up. We're pretty much done here. Is go back to the listing type, and if we go back to our search forms, the last thing I want to mention here is last thing is the listing order. So by default, this is what comes out of the box. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Let's show the latest listings by date, and then you can choose whether it's ascending or descending. Let's show it, the latest ones, in the order that we choose in this column right here, okay? And you can add additional clauses to this, like, okay, give me a secondary filter. So I first want to do it by latest, by date, ascending or descending, and then the next one you can do it by a custom field. You can select the field and just keep further whittling that down for that particular ordering option. That'd be just under latest. And then the other thing you can do, you can add additional ordering clauses. And another thing you can do is ignore the listing priority. So by default, listings with a higher priority that are promoted are going to appear towards the top. And we see that here in this Fit Starter site. We see this bubble here for promoted is more brightly colored. This is some styling I added. And then this one is featured. So it's still pretty, but it's not as pretty as promoted. We see those are up towards the top. So what this setting does, ignore listing priority, says, I don't care if it's promoted or if it's featured. I just want to, let's go back here to the defaults here. I don't care if it's promoted or if it's featured. Just show me the latest by date in the order that I choose, ascending or descending. I don't care. And then you just do the same thing. By default in this one, latest, it's going to sort by latest as the default. And you can see that here at the bottom where it says order by, and then it's top rated. So this is where it's pulling from, top rated, latest, and random. And you can just choose these to change your order. Okay? So that's what you define in here, is how these different ordering options work. And you can move these. If you want top rated to be the default choice, you can do that. So let's go ahead and do that. Go to our listing type here, gem, listing order. So we're going to change this from top rated to latest. So as we see here, let's refresh the page before we save our changes. It defaults to top rated, but we're going to change this to latest. Okay. Refresh our Explore page. This is going to change the order by. It's going to default to the latest now. Well, it should, but it's not. Yeah, it should be going to the latest. I'm not sure why it's not. Could be it might be caching. Yeah, that's weird. It should be. There we go. Okay, so I just needed to reestablish the page. Okay, so we see that it did change to latest, which matches what I've got here. Okay, so I'm just going to save this change back. All right, guys. Oh, that was a fun video. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to show you about the Explore page. Let me go back to that guide that I showed you real quick, and we'll wrap this thing up. So if I do a search on this guide for Explore, let's see what else comes up here. We covered this under Theme Tools, Theme Options, Explore. You can set your default Explore listings page, how many listings appear per page. Let's go ahead and see what else is in here. Preview cards. Yeah, I already covered that in another video. That defines how the cards are displayed here on the Explore page. Map services, we covered that. Featured listings, how they're shown on the Explore page, I already covered that, but I'll quickly show you. That's these bubbles. That's where that comes from, where that design and designation comes from. Global listing types, I already went through that previously. I won't do that here. And then the Explore page. That's the last thing I've put into this post, but you see it's pretty involved. All right, guys, I think that's it. I may have missed something, but I think that covers 99% of it, 98, something like that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please consider subscribing so I can keep doing these videos for you and so that I know people are watching. All right, thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.